Hello, Playhouse Square. My pal Gina Bernacci knows firsthand just how much fun I have every time I'm in your neck of the woods, and how proud I am of our long-standing close relationship. I love your audiences when I'm there, and then also that extraordinary view looking down Euclid Avenue at your truly stunning playhouses. Nowhere else in the country has anything like it. In fact, we were supposed to be there right now with our production of Jen Lee and Bobby and Kristen Lopez's gorgeous musical Frozen. But since we can't be, it's important to us here at Disney Theatrical that you all know how we are working with Playhouse Square to find a time to bring Frozen, just as soon as we can make it happen. So, until we can be together again, enjoy these sneak peeks of Frozen, the musical. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. You are such a great friend to Playhouse Square, you and the entire team at Disney Theatricals, as you have been for years. So thank you for that, and thank you for all you bring to us. And oh my gosh, this is the week that we are celebrating Frozen here in Cleveland. It's across all of our digital channels, and we are so honored to be able to bring something very special to you this evening. We have two performers who I can't even believe that we managed to have them do this. But Caroline Bowman and Austin Colby play Elsa and Hans in this spectacular, magical production of Frozen that will soon be touring again around America. I can't wait for you to see it. But what is really special about them is that they're husband and wife. To me, that's what makes this so remarkable, because you're going to hear a husband and wife sing this duo that was actually written by a husband and wife team, Kristen Anderson Lopez and her husband, Bobby Lopez. So a very special evening for all of us here at Playhouse Square, all of us here in Cleveland. So from us to you, please join me in welcoming these renowned, talented individuals, but Caroline Bowman and Austin Colby.
Okay. Can I just say something crazy?
I love crazy.
All my life has been a series of doors in my face, and then suddenly I bump into you.
I'm saying the same thing because, I've been searching my whole life to find my own place. And maybe it's the party talking or the chocolate fondue.
But with you,
I
I see your face, and it's nothing like I've ever known before. Love is an open door. Love is an open door. Love is an open door with you. With you. Love is an open door.
I mean, it's crazy.
What?
We finish each other's.
Sandwiches.
That's what I was gonna
I
say.
never met someone who thinks so much like me. Chase, thinks again, or mental synchronization can have with one explanation. You and I
We're
just meant to
be.
say goodbye to the pain of the past. We don't have to feel it anymore. Love's an open door. Love is an open door. Life could be so much more with you. With you. Love's an open door.
Can I say something crazy? Will you marry me?
Can I say something even crazier? Yes!
Love is an open
door. Love is an open door. Life could be so much more with you. With you.
Love is an open
Love is an open door. Hi!
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight.
Yes, thanks for having us.
We are so grateful to be here and to be somewhere in connection with you right now.
Yes,
We wish we were performing the show for you right now, but this is the next best thing for all of us right now.
So yes, I'm Caroline Bowman and I play Elsa in Frozen.
And I'm Austin Colby and I play Hans, and we're married and we're touring together, and it's a dream come true.
Totally.
We have a few questions here that they were sent to us, so we'd like to answer a few of them, if that's okay. So this first question is from John Campus. How many times did you watch Frozen the movie to prepare yourselves for your roles?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a great question. Actually, I mean, I think you should tell your story about your connection with Frozen the movie.
Oh, wow. I forget about that. So I actually was in Frozen the movie. I was a singing troll. So the trolls do not show up in the musical version of Frozen, but the same song is in the musical. Fixer Upper, Fixer Upper. So I am a part of the troll ensemble in the movie. So I sang, the high part of "She's a bit of a fixer upper, she got a couple of bugs," that crazy fun song. And I went and saw the movie with Austin, like when it first came out, because I was like, I think I'm in this movie called Frozen. I really didn't know anything about it. And I was totally shocked when it ended up being this mega hit. So my that was my first, experience with Frozen, being actually in the movie, which is awesome to make it, from a troll to Elsa. It's pretty good. But then, I feel like when I was auditioning for the show, I watched it a lot. I would watch it on the subway on the way down to my auditions, and just to like prepare myself. And it is interesting watching a cartoon when you're going in for like real life human beings, and not that cartoons are not, they're played by real humans, so they are complex, and but you don't always think of cartoons that way. So it was an interesting thing. Like I've never been in I've never been in a Disney show before I was in Frozen. And so, that was like a whole new thing for me, being able to play originally a cartoon character and bring her to life. So I watched it a lot, I think.
Yeah. My first time seeing it was with you. And then I have nieces and nephews, so I watched it a lot before the chance to audition for the show was even possible, even before it was written for the stage. So I was familiar with it and loved it. And then preparing for the show, I think I watched it a couple times, but it's got some really good characters in it. Yeah. This next question, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Okay, so this next question is from Jason Bond, and sorry about we have a German Shepherd. I know that might be a question in here. We have a German Shepherd dog who likes to protect the house, and he's barking.
On tour with us, and so he's protecting our home while we're talking with you.
He protects the home. Anyway, even when he doesn't have to. So Jason Bond of North Canton. Have you ever been to Cleveland before? If so, what show? Thank you for doing this for us tonight. Oh, thank you. This is giving us so much joy. So, of course. Have I been to Cleveland before?
I don't think I have.
I don't know if I have either. I was so excited to come to Cleveland. I've heard such amazing things about it. Yeah, sure. I don't think the only other tour I think that would have gone through Cleveland is when I did Evita, and I don't think we did. We went through Cleveland. I don't think we did.
So we're both excited to come.
Yeah.
And experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next is Sousa Black. I hope I'm saying that correctly. From Cleveland. What is your favorite scene and why? It's not a scene that I'm in, but every night, because I'm at work with Caroline, I get to sit off in the wings and watch Let It Go. And Let It Go is that iconic song that's really the anthem of our show, and to be able to watch that from the wings every night, watching a performance and a song that is so well known, and watching someone who I love so much do it with such ease and grace is just thrilling and rewarding as her husband. So that's probably my favorite scene.
Oh, I love him. That's so nice. Yeah, we have the opportunity within our show to watch each other perform, which is just like wild because we're so used to supporting each other, not being in the same show. And so like to be able to stand off stage and watch the love of your life doing what they do best is just like, it's a gift, truly. I think I would have to say my favorite scene is, so there's a new scene and song added to Frozen the musical, or Frozen, well, originally it was added to Frozen the musical on tour, and then they added it to the Broadway show because they really liked the changes that we did on the tour, and so they added them to the Broadway show. So there's this new song called I Can't Lose You, which is absolutely gorgeous, and I just think it shows the bond between Elsa and Anna. It's so strong. It makes their bond so strong, and they're singing about their love for each other and how, they don't know how to be together and to show their love in the right way. And it's just, it's so powerful and so beautiful. And I think it's just such a beautiful addition to the musical. And it's the first time you see Anna and Elsa like together, standing their ground and being strong in who they are, but also like that's not a weakness. Elsa thinks it's a weakness, that her love for her sister, but it's really what makes them both so strong. And obviously they realize that at the end of the show. And so I think that's my favorite scene to do. And then also the end of the show when Anna freezes is so artistically amazing. The way that we have created that magic of Anna freezing and then being able to bring my sister back to life after she's frozen is just like so breathtaking, and it makes me cry every night. And I just love it so much. Can you tell we love our jobs?
Yeah.
I could talk about this all night long. So thank you for being here and giving us a platform to talk about it, because we miss performing so much, and we specifically miss doing this show so much.
So true. So true.
Yeah. What's the next? Who?
The next question is
from Anna. Anna.
Yeah.
Hey, Anna. Anna from Fairview Park. If you could play any other character in the show, what character would you choose?
I know mine.
Who?
I'd play Sven.
Wow, Sven is a really hard character
Sven is
to play.
really hard, but he's just so lovable.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't say anything, but he is full of so much life and perspective, and his silence and his presence in the show is just so like, he's just like such a wise character just through like his presence, specifically with his scenes with like Kristoff and stuff, and having like a best friend like that. I don't know. And just the beauty of the puppetry that goes with it is, I admire Colin and Evan, who are actors that make Sven come to life. I admire their work, and I think it would be pretty rewarding to take that on.
Well, if you guys didn't know, Sven is played by one actor.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people ask us that if there's like one actor in the front and back of Sven.
They say, which part of you are you, the butt?
No, and it's like it's one actor, and basically the actor is on stilts, also in plank position the entire show. So it is like they are athletes. They're so strong. They work on their core all the time. It's unbelievable how they created Sven for the stage. And sometimes I get lost, like staring at Sven on stage. I'm like, oh, wait. I have to, what am I doing? I have to be in the moment, because he's just so active. His eyes blink and his ears move when he understands certain things. And he's just like, he transforms into this animal. Mm-hmm. And it's like, actually remarkable. I can't, like, it's unbelievable. I love Elsa so much. Like, I don't know if I want to play any other character in the show. And then that's selfish, but like, she's my girl. And
That's great.
I don't get to play her right now. And there is definitely, I miss her a lot. So I'm sticking with Elsa. I'm planting my stake in the ground. She's mine.
Next is Tiffany Murphy from Seattle. How do you keep Frozen fresh in your minds as actors, even though you have not been performing? That's a great question. We take our jobs really seriously, and I think what's the phrase? Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
No, that is the phrase. That is a phrase. Is that the phrase you're looking for?
I think so. But like even just missing it, I think we're constantly, we're on our toes. We're eager to get back to it, and so I think it's we don't really have to work that hard to keep it fresh in our minds because it's so present in our hearts, and so that's what I say about that.
Yeah, I think I get in the shower and I just naturally start singing songs from Frozen, and I work on two of my big songs in the show are Let It Go and Monster. There's a new song called Monster in Act 2, and both of them are quite hard and take a lot of work, and I build up my stamina to sing those songs, and so I'm constantly singing them. Austin and I had the opportunity to do a live concert recently outdoors. There's a venue where we're living right now that hosts outdoor concerts, and people could sit and social distance. And so we sang some songs from Frozen and that was really cool to revisit those numbers and be able to fill our hearts with them again. But yeah, I do, like Austin said, I do feel like we're constantly,
and we're also keeping in touch with our cast members.
Yes.
Because unfortunately we're kind of mourning the missed opportunity to perform for the past several months, to be in Cleveland now. We're mourning that, and so we try and keep in touch with a lot of our coworkers, and by doing that we are keeping Frozen fresh and alive, and
our relationships
Yeah.
with our teammates, which is our cast, alive and fresh. So yeah.
Totally.
Who's the next question? Monica?
Mhm.
Monica Emery. She is from Medina. What's the strangest thing that's happened to you while performing live? The strangest thing. Okay, gosh. There's a lot that can go wrong, especially in Frozen, because there's so much technical aspects of the show that have to go right in order for our show to be perfect. The strangest thing, that's a specific question. I mean, I'm going to say, I think in Frozen in particular, we've done a pretty good job of our show has run pretty smoothly.
Mhm.
There are new elements on the road that we were still getting used to. And so in one of our first cities, things can happen where there's a lot of icicles that Elsa makes, and some of those icicles during Monster in Act 2 collided. Austin was actually on stage for this. Collided and cracked, and so there was just like ice cubes all over the floor, like literally just crushed ice. I can make all the ice jokes. I wish I could hear your laughter. Please laugh at me. I don't get to be that funny when I'm Elsa. So there was just like ice all over the floor. We finished the number, and one of the stage managers just yelled to me and said, "Caroline, come off stage." And so of course, like, I try to stay in character, and I have this outfit on in Act 2 where I have this cape, this like ice cape. And so I just kind of grabbed the cape and like swooped off like Batman. And then they brought in the curtain, and then the boys came off stage. There was like, it's when all the men are chasing after Elsa and like trying to capture her. And so we all went off stage. We waited for them to figure it out. Nobody got hurt. Yeah. Nobody got hurt, or else I wouldn't be telling this story. But nobody got hurt. Everybody was fine. We waited for everything to clear, and then we went back out on stage. They lifted up the curtain, and we just started right back where we were, like and we continued the show. And we just pretended, the show never stopped, or the story never stopped. And that's kind of our job, to just like move forward as best we can.
The show must go on.
The show must go on. But there's been a lot of crazy.
That was the most.
It's live theater. That's the magic of it. That something can go wrong.
And luckily, we don't have that many stories, and that's a testament to the people that are working behind the scenes to make everything run smoothly. So, and that accidents happen, and luckily, nobody got hurt, and we got off stage safely, and we were able to reset and continue with the show. So it was. That's probably the strangest thing, though, that I was thinking of when we heard that question.
Yeah.
Next question is from
Jeremy G. Is there one costume piece you wish you could add to your everyday wardrobe?
I mean, I would wear the entire costume of Prince Hans. I remember trying it on for the first time, and I texted Caroline and I said, "I've never felt so handsome."
He was handsome.
Handsome, yes. But it's a gorgeous, detailed costume fit for a prince, and I play a prince, so it's pretty great.
And you're very handsome in it. It's amazing. I can't wait for you guys to see it live. My Act 2 costume is so comfortable, and I feel so fierce in it. I feel like a Power Ranger, and I always wanted to be a Power Ranger, and so like that, this is my time that I've been craving since I was a kid. And it's like the pants are so comfortable, like I would sleep in them. They're like pajamas because she's has to run a lot in Act 2, and she's very active, and she's like stepped into her own, and so she's like a lot more powerful. She's kind of like Elsa in Frozen 2. And then the top part is like this like corset bodice that's sparkly. Every single inch of it is sparkly, and my hair is like so fierce and has like all these sparkly icicles all like wrapped into her braid. And so, yeah, I wish I could be a Power Ranger every day. I try to be, so that I would wear that every day, for sure.
Next question is from Iris Green. What is your favorite thing to do during the day when you're on tour? If you have families, do they ever travel with you? So we actually consider ourselves traveling as a family, because we do have our German Shepherd dog. He's
who you heard barking earlier.
92 pounds. He's actually very friendly. And my favorite thing to do during the day is hang out with him. And we visited a couple of cities, and I just love to explore those cities with him, go on hikes. Seattle and Portland and LA offered some really, really neat places to go with him.
Yeah.
And he's done really, really well with adapting to new environments. But we couldn't imagine doing this tour without him. So we bought a car to make sure that it was possible.
Well, that's the cool thing about having our dog on the road with us and having each other, is that there is somewhat of a sense of normalcy within like this so not normal life we're living. So he offered, we have to go home and take care of our dog, and like he is our priority. And so that's really special in a way, because it makes, it takes a little bit of pressure off of the show at hand. We take our jobs very seriously, and we prioritize what our health and and what we need to do our job 110%. But having him on the road, I don't know, it's just really nice. We've brought our home with us, and so it makes it feel we're less far away from home.
Yeah, it's good. Next question is Everly.
Everly, I love that name. It's so pretty.
Mollenschott.
Everly, did you ever mess up on stage, and how did you recover? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So in theater, it's called going into the white room, and it's basically like when you forget your lines or when you've like totally blanked, it's like you see nothing but white, and you're like, I don't know where to go from here. In Frozen in particular, I walked out on stage at the beginning of Monster, which is Act 2. It's my big number in Act 2. It's like the 11 o'clock number, so I should, try to nail it. And I always try to nail it, and I'm a human being, so 8 times a week is sometimes hard. But I walked out and I just had no words, not a word in my head. I was like, I don't know what to sing. So I think the words just started coming out as gibberish. And then I looked down at my music director, who was right there with me, and she just started mouthing every word to me, like articulating, and she's very good at her job. So she's like playing the whole, like, conducting the orchestra, and then like looking at me like, these are the words and sing them now. And this is the next word. And I was just like, and I stared at her the whole song. And I just tried to act the song as much as I could by like kind of looking at her like, help me. Because I started like freaking out that I didn't know it. And it's just so weird when that happens, because of course we know it. We've rehearsed. We're like ready. We're prepared. We've done everything we need to do to prepare and have the show learned and in our body. And I had done it for months at that point, but sometimes we just go blank. And
there's no like rhyme or reason. It just happens. I've done it in other productions and stuff. So I mean, it just happens in a way. It just it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
And other actors will do it too. And you're in a scene with them, and you have to figure it out. You're like, oh, my scene partner doesn't know their lines. Maybe I can say something that helps remind them what their line is, or something like that.
Yeah.
But luckily, it's a team effort, and that's a great example of the conductor being a teammate and helping out a lot.
I've totally walked out on stage at the top of Let It Go and been like, I start panicking, because I'm like, if I mess up a word in this song, everyone's going to know. Everyone knows Let It Go on the planet. So I was like, sometimes I've like been like fighting with myself. Sometimes that just happens. You feel a little insecure about the song, and then you have to like literally let it go, because you're like, I will not be able to handle this song and say Let It Go 500 million times and sing it to the best of my ability if I'm fighting with myself over whether I know the words. So yeah, you just kind of have to like silence those inner demons and say, no, you have be gone, you have no power here. That's how we do it.
Next question is from Lisa B. In which play did you have your first lead role? How long do you practice during the week preparing on tour? My first leading role was in college. I was in City of Angels, for those of you who know that musical. And I played Stein. And it's about a screenwriter who's writing this story about a detective in a mystery. And what's really neat is the characters from his everyday life come to life in his story as different characters. And it's one of my favorites, I think, because of that. But it was a big, daunting role to take on, and I learned a lot from doing it. And part of me, because I've grown since then, would love another opportunity to go back and play it again. But we'll see. It's not done that often. It's kind of a tough musical to do, but it's a good one. What about you?
My first lead role ever, I think I was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz in 5th grade. That wasn't professional. I was in a summer camp, which is funny because I ended up playing the Wicked Witch of the West in Wicked later on
Full
in my
circle.
life. So I was Dorothy and Elphaba. But my first leading role professionally, I think I was playing Erlene in Footloose. She's more of a side character, but I was doing that at Toby's Dinner Theater in Columbia, Maryland, where I worked when I was starting at 16. I started working at a dinner theater where I grew up, and I played Erlene in Footloose. So there you
go. Next question is from Jenny Herman of North Canton. What part of the show was the hardest for you to do / learn, and why? Do you want to go first?
Hardest for me to do / learn. Probably Let It Go. Because there's so much technical elements in it that have to go right. And the song is so magical, but there are a lot of things in it that have to be on different cues and precise. The magic coming out of my hands. And so that has to be, I have to learn like basically choreography because the magic has to match what my hands are doing. And then we added a new set piece into that scene that moves on stage with me on it. So, and that was like a big endeavor when we were doing our tech process out of town, as to like how we wanted that to move. It's like a little staircase that's in my ice castle. And so and that's hard on tour too, because we have tracks on tour that move the set pieces. And so they were trying to figure out how they wanted it to move. And so that took a really long time to tech Let It Go. And as you know, Elsa is the only one singing Let It Go. So that was me on stage for a lot of hours at a time, like probably 2 full days. So that was
during tech, I can remember leaving Caroline at the theater to go home and take care of Kodak. And when at the end of the night, Caroline came home and I was expecting her to say that they had finished the number, and then it went on to the next day and continued to work on it. So it was definitely a long process, but that time paid off.
It's very worth it.
It's pretty spectacular. So
Disney knows how to put on a good show for sure.
Yeah. My hardest part to learn and do is probably my favorite part of the show is Love is an Open Door, but that's primarily because it's the song is all about it's kind of like imagining the perfect date with that excited energy between the two characters, and Rob Ashford has done a great job with the choreography, kind of like having dance moves and you're dancing together and all of a sudden you're like lifting each other, and then all of a sudden she's like on your shoulder and then she's like behind you, and like it's kind of the choreography like goes from beautiful to awkward back to beautiful, and it's intricate. And I kind of joked when I was learning it, it was like a squirrel on a tree, climbing a tree, and she's the squirrel and I'm the tree, so she would kind of have to climb all over me. And so meanwhile I'm having to sing and act, do the dance moves well, and all the while make sure that she doesn't fall. And she's got this big poofy dress that every night I would have to navigate and make sure that I was gripping her the right way through all this fabric. So I think that was really, really challenging and to learn, but luckily I got to the point where I felt like I could do it safely, and it was kind of muscle memory.
And again, it's so good, and it's just all that hard work paid off, and they the girl who plays Anna is also named Caroline, and they have such good chemistry. And I say that like confidently. Like, I am happy that they have great chemistry. They're just so good together. It's such a sweet number, and it's so technically, I mean, it's executed incredibly. Good job.
Thank you. Okay, this next question. Do you want to say it?
Did you just say Jenny?
Yes,
you did Jenny.
The last one.
Elizabeth Spice. She's from Dover. And considering the cast of Frozen is made up of Broadway alumni, have you met any of the stars who voiced the characters in the Frozen films? Yes, actually. I have met Idina Menzel because I played Elphaba, and so in Wicked. For those of you who don't know Elphaba, but Idina Menzel originated Elphaba in Wicked, and so I met her when I went back to do an Wicked anniversary performance, and she was there. She's lovely, and she's wonderful. I mean, I don't have her phone number, but I mean, I wish I did, but she's lovely. I'm a big fan of hers. So it was a crazy kind of meeting her. It was like, meeting someone I admire so much. And, so I didn't have a lot of words to say. It just kind of was like probably awkward. And then we got to meet Josh Gad, who plays Olaf. Yep. He came to see the show with his family.
Yeah.
And he was awesome.
And my favorite part of meeting him was actually meeting his daughter, because his daughter, just like full of energy, came up and said to her dad, "Can I tell him? Can I tell him?"
Like, we didn't know.
And Josh was like, "I think they know." And she was like, "I want to tell him. I want to tell him." And I didn't really understand what she was saying. And he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And she turns and she goes, "He's the voice of Olaf," which is just like so cute to see this young girl. She's probably like 7 or 8, just like so excited for her dad and such a huge fan, and like excited to like share that. I think that typically little girls could get embarrassed by their dad, and like especially people being excited about their dad, but she's like, it just seems like his #1 fan, and it was adorable.
Yeah. And because I was in the movie, I got to meet all the trolls. Every single voice of the trolls I know.
That's right. Okay, Jamie Castle from Willowick. What was your audition like, and what was your reaction when you found out you would be in Frozen? So we had a long audition process. How was it? It
was over a span of like 6 months.
6 months. Mm-hmm. And I think I counted 9 auditions total. And that includes working on the song material and the scene material, but I had more auditions than she did because there's the dance portion of for Hans, and so I had to learn some of the dance too, and that was a part of that. But our final audition was really neat and a first for me.
Me too.
They actually held it kind of old school. They had the final audition on the stage of the St. James Theater, where Frozen Broadway was at the time was being performed. So we got to wait in the lobby. They would call us. We'd walk through the audience to a side door up onto the stage, and we were in front of about around 30 people, I would guess, and that included Bobby and Kristen Lopez and Tom Schumacher, who you heard from tonight. Obviously, the directors and choreographers for the show, but it was just a big stage with all the bright lights on the set, and so to be able to, you think about an audition as your opportunity to play the role, and how cool to play the role in your audition on the stage. All that's missing is maybe a microphone and a costume piece, but that was nerve-wracking at the same time as exciting. And then later on that day, we went home. We auditioned probably about an hour in between each other. And so I waited for her. I went first, and then I waited for her to go. And then we took the subway train up and, thought back to the audition and deconstructed it. And we sat on our couch and continued to talk about it. And then we got a phone call from Caroline's manager. And what did she say?
I think she said, "How would you like to go on tour with your husband?"
And we knew in that minute that our lives had just changed. It's a pretty huge opportunity to get a job leading a touring company, but to be able to do it with your spouse who's also leading that company is really exciting and highlight of our careers thus far.
And we know it's very rare, so we were really grateful for that.
All right.
Oh, we're going to take questions from the live chat. Exciting. Okay, Renee.
Question from Renee.
Aw, how did we meet?
We love that story.
Okay, so we met on November 25th, 2012. And we met through mutual friends. I was doing Kinky Boots on Broadway, or I had done the out-of-town tryout of Kinky Boots in Chicago, and I came home to Maryland, where Austin was working at the time in the DC area. There's a big theater network in DC. And so he was working in DC, and I came home in between jobs because we were doing that out of town, and then we were coming back to Broadway in February of 2013. So I went over to a mutual friend's house of ours. I didn't know he was going to be there, and he was doing the same show as my friends at that time, and I had gone to see my friends in the show, and he happened to be in the show. And anyway, so we were all hanging out after the show at a friend's house, and we had a bonfire, and we sat out under the stars until like 4 a.m. talking. And we probably would have talked longer, but everybody in the house wanted to go to bed, and we were like sitting outside of their windows. So, we said goodnight that night, and that was November 25th, 2012. And then I got your number. I got his number.
I chickened out. I couldn't get the courage to ask for her number. Nothing. It was just good night. May never see you again, and you're probably the love of my life. But I'm too nervous to ask.
So I could tell that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I went to my friend Nick, and I was like, what is Austin's number after Austin left? And of course, he gave me a hard time and then gave me his number. And I texted Austin, "For your records, Caroline Bowman." And
it's a great move.
That was
a great move.
And that was the beginning. And then we got married 5 days to the day that we met, November 25th, 2017. Yeah. Okay, Jill wants to know how we take care of our voices. A lot of sleep, a lot of water, and I'm constantly thinking about my voice, especially when I'm in a show, that's such a hard sing. I've had the honor of doing a couple shows that are pretty hard sings, and so it is a full-time job taking care of your voice, but I take voice lessons every 2 weeks. I'm constantly, I warm up. I do a full warm up before I sing anything. And then there's a lot of other tricks, like steaming is awesome. Drinking a lot of tea. I like ginger tea and some Manuka honey. There's a lot of things that are helpful, but mainly the biggest thing is sleep and water. Like if you got to get a lot of sleep and make sure you're just taking care of your body.
We honestly, we kind of think of ourselves as athletes, so making sure we're in peak condition, physically healthy, and we exercise a lot too, because having that stamina and being physically active makes the performing side of things a lot easier.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. Maddie, where do we live?
Where do we live? Well, right now, so to go on tour, before tour started, we were living in New York City, and we had an apartment there, and this opportunity came to us, and we packed up all of our things and moved out of our apartment and put our belongings in storage because we knew we would be on the road for a year, or we thought we'd be on the road for a year. And then the craziness of the world happened while we were on tour. So currently we are staying with Caroline's parents, who are generous enough to host us in the interim until we go back to work, and that's in Delaware and Maryland.
Yeah, I'm originally from Maryland, so we're in between Maryland and Delaware. Amy, her name's Amy. Oh, Amy's daughter. Okay. Amy's daughter wants to know what it's like to have superpowers. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's everything I ever dreamed of. I'm telling you, I wanted to be a Power Ranger growing up, and I feel like one when I play Elsa. She's the coolest character, and it's just incredible being able to be so magical and also owning her inner power and standing firm with who she is and learning who she is and growing into who she is. Like that is all of our own power. That is everybody's superpower, and owning what is inside of you and who you are is, and what makes you special, and those gifts are all of your superpowers. So I encourage you to bring out your superpowers just like Elsa does, because she empowers me every day. David wants to know if we have any advice for wannabe performers. Hopeful performers.
Performing as a dream. I would say keep the hunger to learn more. Always stay creative. Find ways to be creative in your everyday life. Also, surround yourself with other people who are artists and creators of all genres of arts, whether it be theatrical or visual art or musicians. They're all connected, and you can learn so much from them. And I would also say to continue to study and learn and train. We are still learning, and as professionals doing it, we're always trying to stay on top of our game, and it's and it really drives us to want to be the best that we can be, and it's a privilege to have opportunities to do that. So yeah.
I'd say ditto to all that. And then it might sound simple, but be nice to everyone. You will work with everybody, knows everybody in this industry, and people remember first impressions, and people want to work with kind, generous people. And that's like, those are the people who continually work. I hope. I mean, I do think that the not so nice people are weeded out, and so just be nice to everyone, your crew, your orchestra, everybody's there, your front of house people, the ushers. Like, don't forget anybody who's trying to make theater alive, and that it's a big team effort, and thinking of it as a sport and as a team effort is important, very important.
Also, one additional thing, I think, especially if you're an aspiring performer, having life experiences, being a well-rounded human being, traveling if you can, learning about different cultures.
Sure,
all of
totally.
that kind of stuff is going to come in handy when you start to tell stories of other people or other characters. Cast a wide net in terms of the knowledge that you can possess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
Thank you
for
all.
having us. This has been such a great opportunity for us. Hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to come to Cleveland soon.
Yes.
We are so sorry we're not there, but grateful we had this opportunity to be there virtually.
Stay safe and let it go.